Hey everyone, this video is going to be a kind of like, I wouldn't say a reaction video, but this is going to be kind of like my response to the new Mega Man 11 trailer. So, if you're not familiar with Mega Man, it's a very old series. This year was actually its 30-year anniversary. It's had so many games, so much anime adaptations, a lot of spin-off games, just a whole bunch of things. They used to have like yearly releases. It was pretty much the company's Capcom's flagship title. They would make so much money off of it, and in the old days, sometimes they would even put a lot of references to Mega Man in their other games, like in Dead Rising, for example. The one of the little girls would always be playing Mega Man on a handheld console, but Mega Man, well, it has a very sad history because it used to have yearly releases, but it seems like, and they kept pumping out titles. They tried to get it into like the PlayStation 2 and stuff. They tried to make the Mega Man games for the mainline non-portable consoles, but those games they ended up not doing so well. Now, some of those games would have too much narrative, and it's like it focused on the wrong aspects of what people liked about the Mega Man franchise. And in the end, I guess maybe the sales. I believe that the sales honestly weren't doing so well in its later years, which led to the company just not making these games at all. And then the fan base would be all confused, but they wouldn't. Like it's kind of understandable why they did that. Like the sales were dropping a lot. Production costs kept increasing, and they had to find the publishers had to find a way to try to make the game work, because the modern trend of gaming has like is AAA games nowadays. People nowadays, unfortunately, they really love having really fancy graphics, having really fancy gameplay, having an ease of life, conveniences in the gameplay. Like in general, gamers do like easier games than the old days, and even like Mega Man, the old Mega Man games are really tough. Even the original Mega Man, that's probably one of the toughest games I've played because it's just so challenging. A lot of people would use glitches to actually beat the old games because they were really tricky. But these games, there wasn't really a way to fit Mega Man into like how the market was going. They did end up making, so there was a gap, but then they ended up closing the gap with Mega Man 10. It wasn't the best game, but they tried to market it as a minimalist kind of game, like an indie title kind of game. I know that it was being sold on, like, when the Xbox 360 came out, for example, a few years after it came out, it started having they kept changing the interface of the Xbox 360's layout and stuff, but eventually they had advertisements and stuff where you could buy like indie titles. Like you could buy indie titles through the Xbox Microsoft marketplace. And I know that, yeah, I bought that Mega Man 10 through that marketplace, and it would cost cheaper as well, so they purposely marketed it as like a minimalist, old-school kind of game, like trying to get back to the retro graphics and stuff. A few of the Mega Man games before that were actually more detailed than Mega Man 10, like Mega Man 8, 9, and such. Like, those were actually more detailed. Like, some of these games were even on the PlayStation, and they were 16 and maybe even 32-bit, but now they purposely made the graphics look like an original Mega Man to cater to the old fans of the franchise. I don't think that Mega Man 10 was the most successful game either. I still think that it had diminishing sales. I know that when I was in school, a lot of people would be saying, oh, you bought Mega Man 10? What the hell is that? That looks like a shitty kind of game. Like, I noticed that in the old days as well. Now it's changing as people get older too. People want to try something new nowadays. Sometimes people make more money nowadays too. But in those days of school, like high school and stuff, which is probably a lot of the video game like fan base, a lot of people just didn't want those games because they didn't like those old school kind of games. I know that Mega Man is a little bit older than me, so I can kind of understand, like, maybe they were really catering to the people who played NES and SNES games in their childhood, whereas I had more of a later stuff. I had Mega Drive, 64, and Nintendo 64, this kind of stuff in my childhood. I'm a little bit younger than those kinds of people. But yeah, like they tried hard to make like go back to the roots, and they're still kind of going back to the roots. But this time they're well, it looks like in this trailer they were using a 3D model of Mega Man, and they're just gonna try again, see if they can get it working again, and seeing if they can make money off of it. I'm not surprised by the announcement of Mega Man 11 because these people, the publishers, have been regularly re-releasing the old games in compilation bundles. So I know there was two collections. There was the Mega Man Legacy Collection 1 and Mega Man Legacy Collection 2, which have basically like about the first half and the second half or so of the games. Like not exactly. Like one of them has more of the games and the other one has less, but you get the idea. And you can see that, oh, especially with the news of that failure last year, Mighty Number 9, was it? Oh god, I hate that. Like that game was so bad because it just wrecked everything. I can barely remember the name. I know it's Mighty Number 8 9, but I'm so close to accidentally saying 8 or 7 because of how unremarkable it was. But that game, yeah. But seeing how let's forget about how much of a failure that game was. When you look at how hyped everyone was for it, and when you look at like how much money it got from Kickstarter and all of these funding avenues, it's clear that there was some kind of demand for the game, though the execution was not done correctly. So I'm thinking now Capcom and these developers and such, they figure that, oh, let's try pumping out a title, seeing what happens. Like, you'd have to remember that between Mega Man 8 and 9, there was almost a decade-long gap, and now between... Sorry, my bad. Did I mess that up? I mean, between 9 and 10, yeah, decade-long gap, and then now between 10 and 11, the new game, there's another decade-long gap. So you can kind of see, it's like most of the titles of Mega Man games and spin-offs, they came out during the earlier parts of the franchise. Now the franchises are pretty much dead. Now it's like the publishers are just dipping their toes in the water and seeing if they can get money off of it. I don't know. I don't think that the game is going to be that good. I'm just saying it now. I do feel like it's going to be a cash grab. I mean, it looks good from the trailers. It looks interesting, and it looks like they have made a few changes, like new powers and stuff. Like, and they're not going overblown with it. They're still trying to make a little bit of a minimalist design, but it does look like it's going to be a little bit easier. Because I was looking at some of it, like, I saw him like shooting down these obstacles and stuff. I don't know. It doesn't look like, maybe it's, I'm not warranted to say this. It doesn't look like it's going to be as bad. And I speculate they're definitely not going to make it as hard as the old games. Because a lot of the hard games, especially the old ones, like definitely after 3, 4, like you can beat them if you try long and hard enough. But yeah, Mega Man 1 is definitely one of the most brutal ones there is. It is like one of the games that fits the definition of Nintendo hard games. But yeah. So I do think they're gonna make changes. Like you already see some other changes too. Like they got rid of like sprites. You know, oh, Mega Man's all 3D. It kind of looks like how Mighty Number 9 looks. Like this 3D character in like a world. So I kind of hate that because I like the sprites. Like I like the crispy, unique look of the sprites. Sometimes making good-looking sprites takes more effort than making these 3D models. But hey, like I guess they really do have to try to market it for a new audience and such. I didn't look at what platforms it's going to be released. It's probably going to be like a multi-platform release. I don't know about it though. I really don't know, because after Mega Man 10, it wasn't really good. Like Mega Man 10 wasn't a bad game, but it wasn't like the old games how they used to be. Because of the changes that they do, it's just not the same old feeling. But it's not even just that. It's not even just their fault. It might be just, you know, the modern video game audience's tastes changing as well. It can't really be helped. It really depends on how much they're gonna market this, sell this for. Maybe it even depends a little bit on the time that it released. Because if they choose a bad time to release the game, that could adversely affect the sales of the game. But yeah, I would expect them to try to do this like the last game, like try to sell it as kind of like an indie title almost. Maybe they have to do encourage replayability by adding collectibles or something. Maybe yeah, challenges. They have to do challenges. I know that in Mega Man Legends, sorry, what am I even saying? Mega Man Legacy Collection, they actually had, you know, time trial speed running modes, like this kind of stuff. Maybe they could incorporate some other kinds of modes to increase replayability. Challenges, yeah, the challenges in the other games were pretty interesting to complete. But, you know, there has to be probably kind of a balance between them two. You can't have too many challenges either. Just a little bit, because again, like, it's gonna be like a single player game. People are gonna be scared of that, and maybe some of the older people, like, just think about it. If Mega Man is like 30 years old, imagine if you were a kid playing that, so you're like a few years over 30. Would that really be the best audience to market the game towards? I think they're gonna try to make the game for a modernized, trying to make the game for a new audience. I'll see how they do that, but I don't know. I just don't have a good feeling about this game. It's not gonna be like a blunder like Mighty Number 9, but after Mega Man 10, I don't think it's going to do as well like nowadays. I'm surprised they keep like testing out the series with all the controversies and all that. Like, I'm surprised they're gonna do all this. Like, especially what happened with, you know, Mighty Number 9, Kenji, Inafune, all of that. What should I call this situation exactly? It's so weird. Like, the sequence of events. Yeah, they're gonna try something gimmicky to try to get extra money just to see, but like nowadays it's just not good. Capcom, Konami, it's like maybe they've all realized there's not much money to be made from games. Is this kind of like a fan servicey kind of game? I'm wondering how they're going to do this, because you know how it is. It's sad, but it's true. Like, they tried, you know, the old formula. If you never played it, like, the old Mega Man games were pretty much, oh, you have 4 stages and you do them, and you have another 4 stages and you have a final boss. You'll have to go to Wily's castle, and after that there's a final boss. Sometimes they try to like trick the player into saying, oh, well, no, it's not Wily. It's actually this guy, and it ends up being Wily anyways. And you know, and then on the PlayStation 2 and stuff, they tried to make it like, ooh, an action-based game. Sometimes they tried 3D games and a whole bunch of shit, and they tried the old formula, the new formula. It just doesn't seem to be working. I don't know if there's a market for this kind of stuff. So it's kind of like, I feel like they're not gonna do a good job with the game, and I also feel like it's just not going to sell well either, because so many of our tastes have changed. I feel like it's not going to do well for the new audience, and I just don't feel like the old-timers would want it that much either. Like, it's going to be it's not going to be a long game. It's probably going to be like really quick, and though I think that they're going to do some kind of replayability mechanics, I just don't think it's going to be that much to add to the game. So I wonder how it's going to do. It's a tricky situation. I think that its sales will depend on its price that they sell the game for as well. I think that it would do well. And the interesting, I don't know how well it's gonna do in Japan. I think that it'll sell okay in America, but not like exceptionally well. So maybe Capcom and such, maybe they're figuring that, hey, if we can make this game for cheap, maybe we can make like tenfold of the revenue from just like fan service alone. Maybe that's their mentality, because after everything that's happened, after the okay sales of Mega Man 10, after the whole debacle regarding Mighty Number 9, like, is it really like why are they doing this? It's just such a weird sequence of events. Like, after Mighty Number 9 sold so bad, it's kind of like they're going to say, and I think they're gonna market this game like, oh, we're not Mighty Number 9, buy your game, we're not doing what our competitors are doing. So, like, you know what I mean? That kind of situation, and maybe they'll get a lot of sales from that. Maybe they will, yeah, they're gonna use the failure of Mighty Number 9 as a way to promote their own product. It's such a weird sequence. I'm surprised that they're doing this. I wasn't expecting this after like last year and stuff. Cause like these people, the publishers, they have these conferences and live streams every year, and usually what happens is when it comes to Mega Man, they just advertise products and stuff. Let's see how it goes. Like I'll buy the game and do a review of it when it comes out, but these are my predictions. Let's see if my predictions will come true. I don't have a good feeling about this game. I think it's gonna sell okay, but I don't think it's gonna sell exceptionally well. It doesn't have the other nuisances of other indie games. Like other indie games, you buy them because they're so wacky, they're so unique, or they're so original, they're so different. But Mega Man, it seems like more of the old. I don't know. Let's see what happens. If you enjoyed the content in this video, please give it a like. Also, please consider subscribing to our channel so that you can be the first to see all of our latest videos.